Hey everyone, I am the TheChosenOneLegend here, as always joined by my co-host,
Hi, I'm Kai, also known as Fascurreyn.
and welcome back to the BunchaJokahs podcast, where we talk about some of the gaming highlights of the past month, and we had a Nintendo Direct, so I think you know what this video is going to mostly be about today.
Our thoughts on it,
Yeah,
even though we already did them live.
this is true. Now,
But
now
like,
we've had time to think about it, to deepen our thoughts, assuming we
yeah,
have, and I actually haven't checked out most of the stuff since, but we'll see where it lies.
yeah.
And
Also,
if you
like anything we missed during that, and also the fact that we realised we aren't insane for thinking that there were a lot of farming sims in the direct. It's
Very
a
true
sanity
that
check, you know?
there were a lot of comments to do with the farming, and I think maybe we could actually change our channel and be dedicated to farming games. Bunch of farmers. You thinking about it?
Yes, I love that.
We'll we'll,
It's
we'll get
tilling time, baby.
yeah.
It's let's go.
Sam. We need you to get to work on the new logo and UI, please. And we need it by this Sunday when the video comes out. But no worries there. Anyway, we've got a fair bit to talk about. Of course, our first direct in several months. A few bits of Pokemon news and other bits as well, and some Splatoon talk at the end. So do stay tuned for all of that. And let's just get started with the first segment of the podcast. Can't have a podcast without news, baby, where we go over the news highlights. And there will be timestamps in the description below if you want to check out different bits we talk about. But to start things off, not direct, before we get to the big guns, we've been getting some more news on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet over the past month. And there's been sort of various tidbits, we can't really talk about it all, but ones I wanted to bring up here was that we got our new team, Team Star. We saw some look at gyms, and very recently we just got a new Pokemon. That's totally not Diglett, it's Wiglet. It's some interesting stuff. Anything
uh,
there that stood out to you, Kai?
um, I like the new Pokemon. I think Wiglet looks cool. There was also that other one that I can't remember the name of. That's like a paint Pokemon. Um, I think the new Pokemon designs are decent. I like them. Um, Especially there's like a big crab.
Yeah.
So they're all pretty cool. In terms of like the stuff outside of the Pokemon designs though, I still don't really care for it. Team Star is like such a whatever thing to me, you know? So I
Yeah.
don't really know how to feel about that side of things, but hey, the Pokemon look cool. So
Yeah, it's looking interesting. Again, I could feign opinions on this, but the realistic answer is I don't really have any. So I think I'm glad to see a lot of people are quite positive about this, which is nice because it feels like that's rare, especially with like the build up to Pokemon Sword and Shield. We all remember that for many reasons.
yeah.
It was a time, but generally the Pokemon sphere seems more positive, which is, I mean, there's always a negative side, but it's good to see that things are looking optimistic, and we'll find out
Mhm.
how it goes soon. But it's one of those I'm more interested to see how things turn out rather than play myself, because I think I'm still going to be going through Xenoblade at that time. Dear God.
Yeah, I don't think I'll pick it up, even though I've picked up all the games since Gen 5, but I
Hmm.
just don't really care for it that much. I don't know. Maybe my opinion will change when it comes out and the open world stuff will be really cool, but as of right now, it's like you, I'm just curious to see how it'll end up turning up.
Indeed. And one thing for our next story, before we get to the direct, Kai will probably have nothing to say about this. I just wanted to have my own mini
hmm
rant here. Um,
Okay.
I have the privilege of doing this because I picked the new segments. It's great. But there was a Disney Marvel Direct, which was boring, so I'm not going to talk about it specifically. But they did show off Lego Star Wars DLC packs for
Oh.
Skywalker Saga, some new character packs. And we got ones for like Clone Wars pack and Obi-Wan Kenobi, the new series that came out, of course. But most importantly for me, Star Wars Rebels, which means my boy Kanan, my profile picture, favourite Star Wars character, is likely going to be in the game, which is great.
Yeah.
However,
Nice.
and there is a
Uh-oh.
however here, as far as I can tell, these are just character packs, and I've already completed the game, so I have absolutely nothing to do with these new characters. So
No,
it's
that's a
like,
kind of weird one.
it is. It's like, do I bother by spending? I think it's like 15 quid for like the 6 packs or something, which isn't that bad. It's decent enough, but all I'm going to do is look at them. I might as well just watch a YouTube video to see what the designs look like. So I might not pick this up because what am I going to do with these characters?
Yeah, there's no point really.
Yeah, that's it, which is a shame because I so wanted Lego Kanan in there. And if I'd had him, if this came out in the early days, I would have been like, I'm getting this, I'm playing as Kanan 90% of the time. But, yeah, not absolutely nothing to do with the characters anymore. I think I've wandered around that game enough for a lifetime. So, I think it's my most played PlayStation 5 game. It's beating like Final Fantasy 7 Remake and that.
Wow.
So.
Okay, I guess you can just do restart the game, speedrun with him.
Oh god.
Imagine.
Oh yeah, I'll do it on stream. Let's make it happen.
Go for it. Uncharted 3, get out of here.
Get out of Uncharted. But that's really all I have to say about that. Just the internal dilemma of you're too late, Disney, you're too late. But let's move on to the big guns here, the big news, the Nintendo Direct. And there's a lot to cover here. And to start things off, a new Fire Emblem Engage, which seems to be taking the mobile approach of let's get in past heroes and stuff. And it's interesting actually though. I'm generally quite fascinated by what I saw, and I'm looking forward to getting this. What about you, Kai?
I think at the very least the concept is interesting. It kind of looks like, and I could be wrong in the end, but it kind of looks like that half the cast is going to be, your regular characters, the new ones that they introduce. Toothpaste Chan, as they call them,
yes,
is the main character, and then the other half is like the legends from the series. You got Marth, Ike, all those guys. I know Celica was in there. And like the concept is interesting. Bringing them back as these spirit type things. And the other positive thing I'll say about is that the game in general, like the gameplay looked clean. The UI specifically was quite good.
Yeah, I was gonna specifically call that out because compared to Three Houses, which visually, like I enjoyed the game, it wasn't a problem, but it is quite muddy and a bit drab, the visuals of Three Houses when you think about it. But this game really pops off, like the different environments you see them fighting in. That definitely looks like a huge step up, which I do appreciate.
Yeah, and so it has quite a few merits. Of course, the game's coming out quite soonish in, what was it, January, I think?
January,
yeah.
Like
Yeah, so it's got good parts. However, this is the big however, it's not gone without its fair share of complaints as of late. People specifically complaining about stuff like the character design and it doesn't look good and it's cringe and whatever, I don't know. But that's the thing. It's kind of just one of those bits where we have to wait until we see more of the game to kind of understand if it's good or not.
Yeah,
I'd love to pick it up, but we'll see.
It's definitely going to be interesting. I'm sure within the next few months we'll be getting some more deep dives into the game. It will probably get its own direct, to be honest. I'd be surprised if it didn't, which will be the real teller. I personally quite like the designs, even Toothpaste Chan. I will stand by Toothpaste Chan, but I think there's potential to be really good. Obviously, like for someone who joined with Three Houses, you can also hear my dog barking in the background probably. But for someone who joined with Three Houses, like part of the things I really enjoyed was like the whole school aspect of it and like the training up your students and that sort of walking around the monastery and that, which obviously you'll probably not be in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see what specific unique features this game has. Does it take stuff from Three Houses? Is it a bit more traditional? I mean, how does it incorporate, these fusions, which basically just Ouroboros, let's be real here. It's
that was a thing. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But it's going to be fascinating to find out, and really, we just need to see more. But I feel like I'm probably going to get this game no matter what. I feel like there's nothing else on my radar majorly until a certain game in May, which we'll get to later. So I'll probably pick it up, but we definitely do need to see more, and it's going to be fascinating when they finally give us a direct or something.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it develops. It could certainly go either way depending on what they show off. So I'm hoping it's good. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Indeed, and to keep us going until Fire Emblem anyway, we've got some Xenoblade 3 DLC as our first part of the expansion pack, minus the initial one with like costumes and that. We're getting a new hero who seems to be an artificial blade of sorts, Ino, or resembles an artificial blade. She even it looks like she has like a skill, what's the Poppy's thing called? I'm mind blanking.
Poppy swap.
Poppy swap, yes. She even has an equivalent of that, which is a very interesting concept. What do you think of the new character?
I will say I'm not a massive fan of the design or the voice. I know that's quite negative, but like, it just looks a bit weird. I think they could have made a much more like cool or at least charming looking robot design. It looks a little. Maybe it's just like jarring to me, and that's all it is. I'll probably warm up to it, but for now, like the really weird skinny robot body and high pitched voice isn't quite, doing great things for me. However, I do really like the idea of having like a Poppy swap style hero in the game. Gameplay wise, I'm really, really looking forward to it. Just because there's a chance it will break the game. Like if Heroes didn't already do it enough,
Yeah.
So, it seems interesting. She seems like there could be a lot of opportunities with gameplay. She has her own sort of sultry looking thing. So, you can clearly just customize her however you want. So I'm looking forward to it specifically on the gameplay front.
Yes, I like that they went that approach where they, you're getting a unique hero, but it's not just here's a character with some few moves. They give them a whole different mechanic to them, which I won't go into specifics, of course, but there's a few heroes who do a bit like that already in the game, and I love that they're doing that with the. You know exactly what I'm talking about there. But I love that they're taking that approach with the DLC heroes, and maybe the next one might do something unique to that level as well, which I would definitely be on board for. But yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Of course, we don't know how they're going to be incorporated. It's possible. I mean, neither of us have finished the game yet, so who knows what it's going to be attached to or exactly how they're going to be brought into it. But I'm just glad we're getting more content, and I might even have finished the game by then. You never know.
Yeah, possibly. I've still got a while to go, of course. And we're not going to be talking fully about our Xenoblade thoughts yet, of course, in general.
That'll be coming.
Of course, we're going to dedicate. We're going to dedicate a lot more time to that in the future. But the only other thing they introduced there was, of course, they showed off a bit more about the challenge mode.
Right.
Looks very reminiscent of the Land of Challenge from Xenoblade 2 specifically. Kind of like a ruined version of it almost.
And of course, the first reward has to be swimsuits because it's Xenoblade.
Yeah, wasn't a fan of that personally because I'm not that sad. But it's whatever as long as it's not like essential for a certain mission like it was in Xenoblade 2.
Yeah.
It's fine, I guess. But I'm hoping that I enjoy the time attack stuff in this game more than in Xenoblade 2. We'll see though. I think it's because I'm more in tune with the gameplay. I'll probably enjoy it more this time round. So we'll see.
I think so too as well. I never really gave Xenoblade 2 much of a shot except to get Elmer. And even then I turned it on maximum easy mode and it still took me several tries because I was not great at Xenoblade 2's the deeper mechanics of the game. I feel like I have a better handle on 3, so I'm going to try it out. But
well, I feel like the thing about Xenoblade 2's gameplay is that of course you have understanding it, knowing how to do all your blade combos and your chain attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you get into time attack, it's like, oh, you need to be playing on New Game Plus 3 times over. All these optimal equipment that's really hard to get, and these certain blades, and screw edge, and it's like, okay, I get it. It's a lot. Whereas I don't feel like Xenoblade 3 is quite going to have that level of intensity in what you need to do to be good at it. So
yes, as long as you're not doing hard mode.
True.
In which case, God save you.
Yeah, no chance.
But our next piece of news we got from that we're going to talk about at least. We're skipping over the farming stuff. That can be its own video, Kai, But we got Mario Kart 8 Wave 3. We got a bit of more information on that. Specifically, we got 2 tracks, which is I can't remember the name, but a Christmas track from Tour, and Peach Gardens from DS, which is not one that crossed my mind, but I love that track. So, a great pick.
It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Mario Kart DS was like my first Mario Kart, so it's very nostalgic for me, and I used to love that track back then. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it, with the new music and all that in Deluxe. So
Yeah,
be cool.
I think it should be fun. I love that they brought back Peach's Gardens. That was a very cool track from, both the DS and then also the Wii version of the game. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm curious to see if there's any changes in the track, new shortcuts or upgrades that they often like to bring in.
Yeah.
But either way, I feel like the Mario Kart DLC has just been a really good thing, it's essentially free at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just been very fun to go through each time. So, it's all good.
Yeah, I haven't spent too much time on either one of them, but when it happens, it's just a good excuse to go back into the game on something I was already paying. And you know what? I might as well segue into one that links to the expansion pass, which is we actually got new Nintendo 64 Online games announced coming up. All the Mario parties, which is interesting with Superstars, but cool to have. We still need to play Superstars, damn it.
We do, yeah.
Internet be willing, but as well as those and a few others like Pokemon Stadium, which is probably neat. I know people are excited about that. Pilot Wings. I think the biggest one was GoldenEye, which that is huge. I mean, GoldenEye was I think it's in the top 3 best-selling Nintendo 64 games or something like that. It was a huge hit. Everyone was playing it, but now you can play it online, and that is awesome. So I'm guessing you've never played it, Kai, but trust me, it's fun.
Correct. I've never played it, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm guessing we'll probably get together and do one, session of it at some point, and I can just sort of be like, man, I'm really bad at this, because that's what's going to happen.
The thing is, it's it's of its time, it's a Nintendo 64 shooter, but it's really fun. I used to, my uncle gave me his old Nintendo 64 and GoldenEye, and he used to play it with me. He sometimes still does when he comes over. And it was entertaining because when he started, he had the muscle memory. He was better than me. And over the years, I began to eclipse him, which has been glorious. But
nice.
It's really fun, and there's different modes. Golden Gun. There's different ways you can play it, and that not to mention the story is supposedly quite good, and I've never even tried that. So it's just going to be the perfect one to have online with. So that's a big get. We just need a few more, like Smash Bros and that, but they've got a lot of the big ones out now.
It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would be good to try out. Next piece of news I want to quickly mention, I'm not sure either of us will have too much to say here, but Bravely Default 2 got announced. Not Triangle Strategy 2, I'm sorry, Guy. It's going to have to wait. But
you mean Octopath Traveler 2?
Did I say
Bravely 2?
You know what? The funny thing is, Kai? I've actually written Bravely Default 2 in my notes, which is I didn't just mispronounce. I actually straight up mistyped it in here.
Bravely Default 2's coming out.
I mean, it did come out.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
I'm a little bit behind on that. We probably talked about that before.
Oh dear.
This basically sums up what these kind of games mean to me, which is I don't know much about them, and I'm not going to play them, but. Octopath Traveler 2, we got there eventually, looks good. I'm still not going to play it, but I'm glad it's coming out. What about you, Kai?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and I had a discussion about this on one of my streams a while back now, is I never got into Octopath Traveler 1, mainly just because back then, I don't know why, but I didn't like the art style of the game, the whole sort of, I mean, what is it, 16-bit, 64-bit, HD 2D, that's the one.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. I think it's because I played too many Flash games when I was younger that I hated that had, similar art styles. So something about it I just didn't like. But then, recently it's sort of thinking about it, I thought, well, hang on, surely this type of game is right up my alley, but I don't know, who can say? It's cool that it's coming out. I think it's, it had a lot of fans, Octopath Traveler 1, it's a cool new series. Of course, I'm not going to be expecting a Triangle Strategy 2 or anything like that. It's kind of a separate thing for me, despite the similarities. But, you know, it's cool for those who play it. I might pick it up, but I don't think it'll be soon. Again, too many games.
If I recall,
it looks cool.
It's coming out February, I think, which would
Right.
put it competing directly with Fire Emblem the month before, which is, I mean, no different kinds of games, but still two RPGs of sorts coming out at the same time. That's going to be one people are going to have to pick on.
Yeah.
So it is. I won't get around to it, but I mean, I watched our friend Sam play the first game, and although it did convince me that this game is too difficult for me, I also love the visuals and the music is god tier. So at the very least, I'll check out some of the tunes, and I'm glad that's getting that back.
Yeah, it seems cool.
Next up, we have Hey Pikmin 2 was announced. So it's thankfully not. Pikmin 4, I'll let you take this one away, Kai.
Oh boy, it's here!
It is. Well,
So,
it's coming
again,
at least.
Well, yeah, for reference, again, there was a interview way back in 2016, I believe, where Miyamoto said Pikmin 4 is nearly ready. It's been 6 years and we got nothing. But it's finally, here. They've announced Pikmin 4 after doing that mobile ad, which kept me on the edge for a while.
Oh, the teasers.
Yes. But, that's fine. That's done now. They announced the game. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see much of it. I kind of would have liked to see at least a tiny bit of gameplay, but hey, what are you going to do? We got to see a little bit of, the visuals. It looks kind of reminiscent of Pikmin 3, as you'd expect. I'm assuming they've, of course, upgraded stuff. So yeah, it's cool that it's coming. I think the only bit of info we really got from it was the release date, and then also something like, you can play from the perspective, of the captains, something similar to their height, which kind of, gives a bit more life to it.
Didn't we see Brittany, was it, in that picture as well?
Yes, that's the main thing, is that we saw Brittany there. So, one of the questions raised is, who is going to be the cast that you play as in Pikmin 3? Pikmin 4, God. It's so bizarre, yeah. Because, of course, the original cast is like Olimar, Louis, and the President. But then Pikmin 3 instead brought in Alf, Brittany, Charlie. And we've seen Brittany here, so it's like, are we going to be continuing with Pikmin 3's cast plus Olimar? Or
maybe you can
what's going to happen?
Out or something. Maybe you can
Possibly.
Choose.
I mean, one very weird thing that I think would be a cool feature, but I don't think they're going to do it, is each captain has some kind of a unique thing to them. Maybe they do damage with a certain type of Pikmin better, or are immune to an element like Pikmin are. Maybe they're better at sprouting Pikmin. I don't really know, but it'd be cool to see what they do with the captains, what they do with the story, the areas, the enemies, what new Pikmin types they bring in. I'm hoping they show off 2 new ones eventually, maybe in a future direct. There's a lot of speculating.
For some reason, your talk of different plucking speed and that gave me the image of there being a skill tree in Pikmin. Could you imagine?
Oh god, it wouldn't surprise me at this point. But
they do like the skill trees.
Exactly. It's an interesting one. They've shown us so little that there's a lot to speculate with, which I'll probably just do in my own time, thinking, they could do this, they could do this. People have been making theory videos and idea videos for years, since Pikmin 3 came out. There's been so many that are all over YouTube to watch.
Yeah.
But now that Pikmin 4 is actually out, it's okay, shifting into maximum overdrive here. I pray that this game is good. My worst nightmare is that this ends up getting the Battle League treatment, where it's a new Strikers game after 10 years. It's so exciting. Oh, it's not very good. I'm not going to be happy if that happens. I'll say that.
On the bright side, there's less ways they can make the same mistakes given it's a single-player game. You'd like to think. And Pikmin 3 Deluxe showed they still understand what works mostly, but
yeah,
time will tell. I mean, we'll find out next year, some point, maybe this time next year even. So.
True.
Next year's busy, is what we're saying.
Yes, it is very busy, but in a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. I'm definitely glad to see that Pikmin 4 finally has come out. I don't know if I'll pick it up or not. I never even got 3, but it depends what else is on at the time. But glad it's happening.
Yes.
And hey, Pikmin 2 one day. One day.
No. No.
Pikmin Strikers, anyone?
Can't imagine. Oh dear.
And now our final bit before the big one I want to mention is kind of an oddball that I was not expecting. Kirby Return to Dreamland, also known as Kirby's Adventure Wii in the UK, I think, is getting a remake on Switch. Which, sure, I mean, it's a good game, but I never expected to see that come back.
I guess they just felt like it. Maybe like they're making another Kirby game for the Switch and they wanted to bring the engine over. That's all I can really think of.
Maybe. I mean, interesting. You can see it's like King DDD's design, specifically to me, looks like it does in Star Allies. It looks like they're using maybe some similar assets there. There's a bit of a visual change where things look almost a bit storybook, some of the backgrounds. And characters kind of have these outlines, which I'm not sure how much I like. I think the original was a bit more clean, but it gives it its own unique flair. And in general, I'll say Return to Dreamland is a great Kirby game. I mean, I played it a lot as a kid. I got 100%, I believe, and I mean, I don't think I have any reason to buy it again, because I have the Wii version, and it doesn't seem like they're adding much new to this. Like, I don't think there's even online. I don't know if there's online co-op or not. That would be a decent...
I don't think there is.
It didn't look like
I could be wrong, though.
Yeah, they didn't mention it at the very least, I'm pretty sure. And I feel like they would have, because that would be a big selling point.
Exactly.
So it's one of those where if you've never played this game before and you're interested in Kirby, great. If not, there's probably not much new for you. Like, I never played the 3DS one, so if it had been like a Planet Robobot release, which is apparently one of the best Kirby games out there, I might have picked it up, because I never got the 3DS one. But this one, I'll pass, but neat, you know? Why not? I think it's like Kirby's anniversary or something, like 35 years or something like that, so sure.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I don't plan on picking it up or anything. I'm just gonna see how it does, I guess. But it's a very weird one, more than anything else.
Yeah.
It's just like, why are they doing it? Sure, I guess.
It's interesting after you know, we had why is my mum Forgotten Land, Kirby in the Forgotten Land, you know, which was Kirby in this like new direction, and the next one's just like let's go back to basics, and that's fine, you know, because I guess it get a bit of variety in your Kirby on the console, but interesting choice. But what the one that we were all expecting, we were hoping for at the very least,
yes,
and we got
Just Dance 2023.
Just Dance 2023.
Yes.
Now you can do the Mario. I wish if it was in there, I might have bought the game actually.
Yeah. I can't wait to dance to Rasputin for the 11th year in a row. Oh my god, it's so exciting.
Yeah, that's our next video for next month, right? That's our middle of the video for October.
Sam was saying Ring Fit Adventure, but actually I kind of like this.
Now we're talking. Sam, you're going to have to make the thumbnail whether you like it or not. You're putting Just Dance in this thumbnail.
Please.
But really, we got a bit of a look at Breath of the Wild 2, which now we have a name for, Tears of the Kingdom. Looking sweet. Honestly, despite how this is the big news, this is the big thing, there's not too much to say. And I'm not too disappointed by that, because I want to know as little as this game when I go into it. But we got a bit more look at the sky areas. We saw like this big bird glider, and we got a release date which is in May next year. Oh, I'm definitely picking this up, that's for sure.
I mean, yeah, there's not even a question there. Like, it's going to be huge. I'm very curious still. Like, of course, they're showing some of the new things in the game. You know, like you say, the new glider, and of course, Link has a ton of new abilities. I think one of the things I'm still very curious about is like how the world is going to change to make this interesting. Because, of course, you know, it looks like we're still in the Hyrule from Breath of the Wild 1, just with all the floating islands. But, like, I wonder what the ground level looks like, if it's exactly the same, or how much has changed. And, you know, of course, so many questions to do with the story. And I'm still really curious on what they're going to do to make this game great in its own way.
Yeah, we see some glimpses of the surface land, and it looks very similar. Like there's interesting bits, like certain places have like these big, I guess like not hieroglyphs, those kind of glyphs in general, images on them. Which
Like the
what do they
Pharaoh
mean?
ones, I think.
Yes, yeah. So I know there's lots of talk about stuff with the Zonai in this game potentially being big,
Yeah.
and there's all sorts of theories. We could be here a while if we went into that. But in general, it's still, I'm waiting for like the big trailer, like we got for Breath of the Wild 2, that January trailer where it is like
The
holy
music
shit, you know,
kicks in
yeah,
and everything.
the music kicks in
Yeah.
and you're like, damn, I need this game right now. I feel like, I mean, I'm getting this game, I need it right now, regardless of that, you know. It doesn't need that this time around, but I'm still hoping that we get that trailer that has lots of stuff, fast cut, so that it doesn't reveal too much, but where we start to see a bit of the story and we start to see a bit of that. I'm waiting for that big trailer, but until now, you know, I'm just glad we've got a release date, so it feels a bit more real now. Tears of the Kingdom seems like a good name, and who knows what that could be about. It could, is it a play on words with Tears of the Kingdom, because the kingdom's sort of tearing apart? It could be, you know.
It's a clever play on words if that's what they were going for.
Yeah, it is definitely. It just, all this trailer does really is raise more questions, but it just makes me more excited to find out the answers, and that's really it. Bring on May.
Yeah, it's going to be a while, so you know we've got plenty of time to speculate and kind of see just what they're going to throw at us with this one, because it's going to be a very big game.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely looking forward to that. And that really is it for the Direct. That's all the big news. That's all the highlights of this month. There was like a Sony Direct. It was kind of boring, so never mind that. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Unless you like God
New
of War.
SpongeBob game.
New SpongeBob game.
Right,
looks decent. Not really much news to say about it other than looks good.
Add-ons. No one cares about that game.
Farming anyone?
No.
Let's segue into our final segment of the podcast then. Games time, baby. Where we talk about the games we've been playing, and it's Splatoon 3 time. Let's not beat around the bush here. Let's talk a bit about Splatoon 3. Because Kai and I both got hands on it. I know I'm nowhere near far enough into the story. In fact, I've barely played any, because Xenoblade 3 still has my soul. But I've got a hand on this game now, and I don't know about you, Kai, but I'm thinking it's pretty great. What about you? How have you been enjoying Splatoon 3?
Yeah, I think I've got like 25 hours in it already somehow.
Nice.
Just like playing Xenoblade all day, every day.
Yeah.
I have beaten the story. I think we'll probably save talking about that properly until you've also beaten it at some point in the future.
Yeah,
but,
the general impressions is the story is fun, and it's very Octo
yes, I've
Expansion
100%ed it, and I loved every second of it. Very similar to Octo Expansion. You know, like a good level of difficulty, but not enough that, you know, new players to the series would struggle.
Yeah.
Overall, just very fun. So yeah, but the main thing is, of course, we can talk about that big event that's happened recently, is the new card game in Splatoon 3, the tabletop battle.
Yes.
That's
where your 25 hours
played
were.
this. I'm already level... So for reference, I'm level like 9 or something in the regular game, because I've not done too much outside of the Splatfest.
Same, I think.
I am level like 15 in Table Turf, and I'm hoping to get like... I'm hoping to reach the max level pretty soon. Just like, I want to devote time to it, because I'm a psychopath.
Yeah.
It's actually quite fun, I'll be real. I know I sort of say it a little as a joke, but like legitimately it is quite a fun thing. So yeah, but of course the big thing was the Splatfest.
Gear, grub, and fun. And let's just say Team Gear, baby!
Yeah, we love Team Gear. We love Gear.
We always love Gear, Kai. Bunch of Gear, guys. Make another new thumbnail for that, Sam. Go on.
Oh god, giving him too much work.
Yeah, never too much. But yeah, I mean, not that I contributed much to it, because I played like 15 matches and I think I lost over half of them. But it was an interesting pick, and it's fun. Although my main complaint here, because we've already talked mostly about the Splatfest, a lot of it's similar to how it was in the beta test. But I didn't get any Tricolour games. What happened to Tricolour? It just disappeared.
It was a problem.
Yeah,
I played, I think it was 43 Splatfest games. I got 2 tricolor battles, and they were both
Jesus.
within like the first 10 games.
Yeah.
So after that, it was just none of them. It wasn't like I can't even really comment on if they changed the tricolor stuff because I didn't get enough games to really tell. And I know that
wild.
like even then, me getting 2 of them was lucky. You know, I've heard a lot of tales of people only getting 1 or even no games at all, despite playing like 50 odd matches. And it's like, come on, the whole draw of this game, the whole new thing they're meant to introduce is look at these cool tricolor battles in Splatfest. That's the new mode. And it's not even available to people. Like,
Yeah. And
what's
again,
the point?
like we said with the test fire, it at least Splatfests are an ever-changing thing, so that can change, and hopefully it will, because it really needs to change, because what's the point of it if no one can play it? I mean, it's simple as that.
Yeah, I just don't get why it wasn't there more. Like, they just need to up the rate of that being available, because it was just a struggle to over and over again just be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not getting it, I guess.
It was weird, but I mean, the game still plays great in general. It's really fun to move around in. I'm sort of still in the phase where I'm trying to get better with my weapons. I think it was just like a pretty basic Splatshot Junior. I changed to that and I started doing better with in my final games. It can be frustrating when you have like a 7 streak of losses. It happens, but especially for me because I'm a noob. But it's
I actually had an amazing weekend with Splatfest. I'll say that. Like, I think it's the best session of Splatoon I've ever played.
Nice.
My win rate was like 70%, and considering that's good. I know it doesn't sound like it's that good, but trust me, like I'm very happy with that. My teammates were decent. I used a variety of weapons. I used roller, carbon roller, ink brush. I think I used dolly squelchers for a bit. Even the Splatana. And I just had a great time with it for some reason. I got 7 wins in a row twice.
Nice.
So I was just killing it. But at the same time, then I heard stories of other people being like, no one's getting tricolor battles. I know from all teams, I was hearing stories about their allies being really bad. For some reason, the matchmaking was a bit all over the place. So it was a really mixed one. Like, I had a great time and Team Gear won, and the game feels great. But at the same time, I hear a lot of stories of, of course, there's no tricolor and bad teammates. So I don't know really what to make of it. It's a lot of good and a lot of bad.
I guess the early days of any online game, even a sequel, was going to have balancing things and certain issues. So I'm not too worried. And in general, even though I was someone who I was probably one of those teammates people were complaining about. I'm just not great at the game, but I'm starting to get a bit of a hang of it. Playing single player is helping, of course, because the whole point of that is to teach you mechanics. And I've been enjoying my time with it. And I want to mention here as well, Salmon Run, which I never played before because it wasn't in Splatoon 1 and I missed out too.
Of course.
Salmon Run is so much fun. I'm generally more of a... I'm less of a competitive gamer than I am a cooperative one. I prefer co-op multiplayer experiences in general. So I really enjoyed, and I didn't even do it with friends, I did it with randoms. And of course, when you're low level Salmon Run, it's pretty easy. I know it's going to get more difficult as you climb up the ranks, but...
It gets chaos.
But I love this mode. I love how it forces you to try out different weapons and play differently. I love how some of the different bosses force you to take different approaches and team up together. And have you got to fight the King Salmonid, the big boy yet?
I have. I've fought it twice and I won on the second time. I actually have a clip of it, and we literally beat it on the final second. I think the timer had already finished, then we beat it and it counted. But yeah, I've also been playing Salmon Run. I've only done one session. But the game it feels better than in Splatoon 2. Like maybe it's because my rank was low, but
I was
playing with people. I was playing with people higher ranked than me, and like we were fighting the same amount of bosses you would in Splatoon 2, and like the game felt really good. The new thing to throw eggs is like such a nice touch.
So nice, yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the new events that they made, which I really liked, that you kind of utilise the egg throw on. This is for anyone who plays Salmon Run, and this is a strat. is there's one new mode where like all the golden eggs are in a cage really far away from the base. So the strategy is that you break it open and you've got like a ton of gold eggs. And the strategy is to basically make like a industry line of people throwing the eggs to each other to get them into the basket in like a line. You know, you throw them from the person who has it at there to the next person along,
Right.
next person, final person pops it in the base.
Yeah.
It's like a really cool bit of strategy, and it kind of emphasizes the teamwork, the new egg throwing, the new event. It kind of did it all in one. The new bosses are great. The arenas feel more round now, like smaller as well. So overall, just like, yeah, really solid stuff on Salmon Run 2.
Yeah, we definitely need to figure out a time to play some together at some point. We need to make it happen.
Of course, yes.
Get the dream team going. I say that, I'll probably hold you all back, but let's do it anyway. You can carry me.
We'll see.
But yeah, in general, I'm having a good time with it. I mean, we've got two perspectives here: someone who played Splatoon 2 and someone who didn't, which is kind of nice. We've got that view. But I think in general, it looks like it's making neat improvements, and it's just fun and Splatoon. You know, nothing completely revolutionary, but it's doing a good job, and hopefully they can keep making it better and give us some damn tricolour matches. So
the day they do that will be the day that we're happy.
Exactly. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Splatoon 3 for now, at least. Well, we'll come back to talk more about story when I'm finished. But do you have any other games you want to mention this week, Kai, before we head off? Because that's all for me.
I have one. Unfortunately, I beat the game like 2 months ago, so my memory of it is already a bit all over the place. But back when I was on holiday a while back, I actually finished Shadows of Valentia. I don't think I've talked about that on the podcast, have I?
I don't think so, no.
I hope not. I can't remember.
We'll find out when the yeah, I was going to say when the comments are mad, but we don't get comments, so you're fine, Kai, go ahead.
Yeah, I beat this like a couple months ago, Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia. I've had the game for about a year, I just never got around to playing it. Because I was like, you know what, I want to try one of the older style Final Fantasy, Fire Emblem games, Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not the only one messing up the names.
Yeah, so I was playing Bravely Default, and but yeah, it was so bizarre, because Shadows of Valentia, to my knowledge, is like, I think the remake specifically is one of the most recent Fire Emblem games apart from Three Houses itself. It might be the most recent apart from that game. And it's so different. Like, of course, me having only played Three Houses went into it sort of wondering what similarities there were going to be, and like, it's just so interesting, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have end of chapter battles. You just have like, you don't have just those and then you can do mock ones in the meantime. You've got like a whole world map that you just work your way through, and there's a bunch of battles all over the place. Every chapter, I mean, there's only like, 5 chapters in the main game, but each one is like 20 battles or so.
Yeah, I mean, I played a bit of Sacred Stones, I think it is, the GBA game.
Oh,
and
right.
that's a bit more in line with that. It's definitely more classic Fire Emblem, whereas Three Houses was quite a new approach, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really cool to see, though. In terms of, I guess, the music was really good. I really enjoyed, some of those like reminiscent Fire Emblem themes that you don't hear in Three Houses. Kind of like the more traditional Fire Emblem motifs that you hear.
Yeah, there was a particular Echoes track. I can't remember. I think it might be like the final boss theme or something like that. That has been in like my usual recommended. I've listened to a lot. It's really there's some good music in there. Even though
there's some really good ones. Yeah, absolutely. I think the story was like really basic.
Yeah.
The themes they bring in and everything. It was like you could see everything coming from a mile away because they didn't even really try and hide any plot points.
Yeah.
And it was all just kind of like, yeah, okay, I can see what's happening here. I can tell kind of what's going to happen here. But that's fine. It wasn't a bad story. It was just simple. It's it's a remake of an old Fire Emblem game, so it's not going to be perfect or anything.
Yeah, makes sense. You can only improve so much.
Yeah, exactly. One of the main features of the game is that you control 2 different teams. You control the Alm team and the Celica team, which you can kind of just sort of like choose which team you want to work on at any time. And that's a pretty cool idea. They both have their own separate teams and stories they're going through. I like that kind of idea, that you're working through these 2 separate teams as time goes on. It's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
One of the new things they added in this remake was like dungeons. You can physically walk around these 3D dungeons now, and that was really fun. There's a lot of like not random encounters. You know, all the enemies are on the map, but they like chase you down to start fights with you and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting. Yeah. So you know, that was pretty fun. In terms of the actual gameplay, the class system was cool. It was very different to Fire Emblem Three Houses, of course. It was a lot more like, not constrained, but like, you know, it just had simple class progression rather than upgrading your class ranks and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But you know, you kind of appreciate the simplicity. You do. My favourite units in battle, I mean, I think Tobin takes the cake. I made him a bow user. He's one of Elm's friend from the village, and he was just a beast in battle. Like, he was my MVP for the game. Took out everything.
There's always one who's like your god tier unit.
Yeah, and like, he was a bow user, so you wouldn't see it coming, but he just for some reason did nutty damage.
Yeah.
That was on Elm's side. On Celica's side, I think my MVP had to have been Silk. No, not Silk. What's her name? Jemmy, I think. God, Jenny. I think it's Jenny.
You could say any name and I'd believe you. So.
Yeah, it's Jenny. I think she has an ability that makes up to 8 additional like temporary allies that aren't like very good, but I've found that it messes with the enemy AI a lot. So you can just summon them and you cheese your way through any battle that you may be struggling with. I suppose that's a point I should bring up, by the way. I played the game on hard mode, not knowing what I was getting myself into.
I was going to say, I've heard this is a difficult game already, like even on normal.
It was very hard.
Yeah.
A lot of battles took me over an hour to beat just because I had to like stall out certain things and whatever. I did a thing, for those who have played the game, they know what I'm saying, but I got the Draco Shield in the first chapter, which is it's like beating the Death Knight in Three Houses back, you know, in one of the early chapters.
Yes.
Without even knowing that it was going to come up, so I had to like sort of on the spot think of a way to do it.
Yeah.
I played it. I'm going to do what I call like pseudo classic. So I technically play in casual mode, but anytime a unit would die or like fall in battle, I would rewind time because that's a feature in this game. And if I ran out of rewinds, I would just literally reset the game to before the battle started, just to stop any like errors happening where I accidentally save after someone's died or whatever.
Yeah, that's basically how I played Three Houses, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, that was fun. I really struggled in some levels because some of them are very difficult. Like, there's one enemy in Three Houses in one of the routes where they have a move that puts one of your units' HP to 1. And that only appears in one route in Three Houses, and everyone's always like, oh, you know, watch out for that guy in that final battle. That's like just like a thing. It's like a random boss has that in this one, like halfway through the game when you're not prepared for it.
Oh no!
With very good range too, and it's just like, it's a mad one. It was very difficult, but I enjoyed the game. My favorite actual characters are probably like Gray and Bowie. You know, they're just like chill. That's really all there is to it. You know, some things may have felt slightly imbalanced at times to do with stats, you know, some characters being way stronger than others. But overall, like, I had a good time with the game. It was fun. I put, like, I think 80 hours into it, maybe more in the end. I haven't done the post-game because it's very difficult, and I just haven't got around to it. But hey, overall, like, a really solid Fire Emblem game. It's really jarring that there's no axes in the game. You can't wield axes, only the enemy can, but that's a side point. There's no weapon triangle. The way that tomes and like arts and tomes both use HP rather than like weapon durability, because there's no weapon durability. There's so many weird changes, but like I managed to adapt in the end, and overall it was just like a really good experience. I'd say if you want to go back to a more traditional Fire Emblem game, I would recommend this one.
And get it quick before the eShop closes, so...
That's true, yeah. I bought it physically, but yeah, absolutely do that.
Yeah, definitely. Glad you enjoyed it. I definitely need to go back and try some other Fire Emblem. Like I said, I tried Sacred Stones before. It was too difficult for me at the time. I mean, I've played more RPGs and stuff since then, so I could probably give it another go now and definitely, of course, Engage will be a step towards that, another Fire Emblem game, because Warriors doesn't count. But
True.
but yeah, glad to hear that's good. Definitely looking forward to more Fire Emblem. But that about brings us to the end of this podcast. So thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Kai, for talking through with me as always, and thank you, Sam, for making the thumbnail, the logo, the 50 different thumbnails I told you to make in this video. You don't actually have to make them, it's fine. Where else can people find you at, Kai?
Twitch.tv/Fascurreyn. I guess I can actually talk about this properly now. So yeah, I am playing through everything in Xenoblade 3 right now. All the side quests, all the everything. I've been streaming. I think I've done 160 or 170 hours in the last 5 weeks. It's been pretty
I believe
mad.
it's at that, something like that. Yeah, I've seen your profile. I'm like, Jesus, he's way ahead of me.
Yeah, I've been doing absolutely everything. So don't visit the channel if you're not at least in chapter 7 of Xenoblade 3, because there will be spoilers. But however, if you're there, feel free. And the main thing is that I've been editing all of my streams into highlight videos. So, any interesting side quests, hero quests, and main story. So if you don't want to watch through it all, but I'm curious on what my reactions were as, hardcore Xenoblade fan, they're all there on my Twitch, segmented into chapters. You can click on whatever video and, see my reaction to whatever side quest you feel. So that's all there available if anyone was curious.
Absolutely, go check it out. And then, of course, stay tuned here as well to BunchaJokahs. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube, or follow us on Spotify and other podcasting sites for audio-only versions. We've got a monthly podcast. And of course, we've got sort of videos in between, maybe some Mario Party. We've been saying that for about a year, but at some point
we have.
we need to make it happen. Of course, once we're both done with Xenoblade, which will probably be sometime next month, I would assume, or if not, early November, we will be going all out Xenoblade content. We'll first post a video on our initial reactions, then we'll have more content breaking down specific chapters or characters or aspects of the game. There will be a lot. So do stay tuned for the wave of Xenoblade once we've both finished it.
Of course.
But until then, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and time, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Goodbye.